All right, guys, here we go. This just showed up at my door today, and I know what you're thinking. Oh no, Ed, not another sponsored video. Yes, it is, but this one's really cool because here's the deal. Ever since I got the Bronco, I've been looking for a way to store the cap, right? Because you get this big old cap on the back of a Bronco, you want to take it out and go under the sun and go off-road and have some good times with the cap off, you have a place to put it. And I've been trying to think of a way to do that. And in the middle of doing that, this isn't a joke, these guys actually reached out to me and said, hey, Ed, we noticed that your garage is kind of, cluttery all the time. And we think that maybe we've got a way to help you clean it up. And if you could do a video on it, we'll go ahead and give you a unit for free. I said, okay. And then I looked into this, and you can actually use this. It's got enough lifting capacity to tie the cap of the Bronco to this thing and lift it to the top of the garage. This is a FLEXIMOUNTS GL1 ceiling storage lift. And I'm gonna mount it right back there, back the Bronco in, and then we're gonna store the cap up on top of the garage ceiling. All right, so according to the contract I signed, I got 30 days to get this thing installed, get the Bronco in here, and get this up on the lift and show you guys exactly how it works. That's pretty neat. It's kind of loud, but it works. Now, you may think that's a lot of time, but not in my world.
That's a turkey.
That's a turkey? You're a turkey.
No, that's a turkey in there.
Oh.
What are you taking a picture of?
You. Don't hit the tree! Don't hit the tree! Howdy folks, Ed here. Welcome back to Bullnose Garage. And as you can see, my garage is a complete disaster area. I've been working on stuff all spring and I got no room for anything in here. The engine still sits right there mocking me as I walk around the garage working on other stuff. But I'm hoping that with this I can knock out two birds with one stone. I can kind of clean things up a little bit, get some storage space to store things in, and find a cool way, an innovative way to store the Bronco cap. Now that's not what this is advertised to do, right? It's not for that purpose, but I'm hoping that I can make that work. And if I can, then maybe you guys who have Broncos out there looking for a place to store your cap can follow suit. So we're gonna open this thing up, do a little bit of an unboxing, and get it installed and see how it works. So stick around. All right, guys, finally got some time to put this thing together. Let's see if we can get it installed. First things first, I'll go ahead and open the box for you so you can see exactly what comes and kind of what we're dealing with. So here's kind of a picture of what it is. Basically, it's a lift that's built for your garage or storage area to put some stuff on and lift it up. This thing can lift it to 300 pounds, so that's pretty good. But it does mean that you have to have it sturdily mounted to your ceiling on some joists. So ceiling joists are generally 2-foot center apart. So this is designed to be 48-inch centers. And luckily my ceiling, even though it wasn't built great back in the day, it was built to that spec. So I'm good there. All right, let's see what we got. Okay, so obviously we've got our hardware here. And manual out there. And this looks like the first piece that'll probably go up on the ceiling. Looks pretty sturdy. It's got all the cables this side of here. Just like now. This looks like the handle to roll it up and down. That's pretty cool. It does actually come with some tape so that you can mount the mounting template to your ceiling, so you know exactly where to pre-drill the holes and to put the hardware. So that's actually really cool. Well, different bits and pieces. I'm gonna go through and see what exactly all this stuff is, but so far it looks like it's pretty sturdy. Oh yeah, okay. So see, there's our installation template. That's going to go up against the ceiling to tell us exactly where all the bits and pieces are going to go. And that's what the tape is for, to tape it to your ceiling. So that's pretty cool. I like the fact that they include that. That'll make things a little bit easier. Oh, there's the rollers, cable. It's packed really well, which is nice. I've got some of this stuff from places, and their packing is just so substandard. You get it, and there's, you know, I mean, you guys know UPS and FedEx and stuff, even the Postal Service. You guys bang around your packages all the time, especially getting auto parts and stuff. You get them and they're all tore up. So it's really nice when a company packs things well. Yeah, I appreciate that. You know, I'm not trying to find things to give them kudos for, right? You know, this is an honest overview here. But kudos where kudos are due. I've seen some pretty bad packaging. Here's your handle for raising it up and down. And there's the bottom grate here. Now, I'm not sure how easy this is going to be to install for a one-man show like myself. We're going to find out. I mean, the box already says Team Lift, right? Which I completely ignored, like everybody else does. All right, let me lay this stuff out and we'll take a look. All right, so here we are, all unpacked. Actually, there's just a few pieces here, so I'm hoping that it's a pretty simple installation. I haven't gone through the instructions yet. I'll do that next. For something like this, that's this sort of industrial kind of garage equipment, you probably should go through the instructions first, just to set yourself up and know exactly what you're doing. I don't usually do that, but in this case, I'm going to go ahead and do that first because this thing is pretty heavy and I'm hanging it from the ceiling of my garage, so I want to make sure that I get it right. So yeah, I'm going to go through that, and then the next thing is going to be putting that template up on my ceiling so I know exactly where it's going to mount. All right, well, there we go. My template is all up on the ceiling. You can see the size of this sucker. It's 4 by 4, 4 feet by 4 feet. So it's pretty good size. I'm gonna be able to fit a lot of stuff on there. And when it comes time to put the Bronco cap on, yeah, that's a perfect size for that. So I'm just gonna use a couple of ratchet straps underneath the cap to basically hang it. I'm not gonna do any kind of tightening or really hard strapping down. It's gonna be just hanging up here. I don't come through here with anything tall, and really, I'm not gonna plan on leaving the cap off of the Bronco for an extended period of time. Maybe someday down the road I'll get like a soft cap or something, but if I do that, then that cap will go into storage, right? It won't stay in here. So this is just for like, if I wanna go out on the weekend, I back the Bronco in, pop the cap off, raise it up, get it out of the way, and then drive off. And now I'm cool, I can do my stuff, I can go, you know, out rock crawling in the desert with the kids or whatever, and then when I'm done, back the Bronco back in, lower the cap back down, attach it, and drive out. And now I'm back to having my space back again, and I can use the actual lift itself to put some things on, car parts, tools I don't use all the time, you know, whatever stuff that I've got laying around that just sort of like takes up space on the floor of my garage, you know, I can lift it up. So this is a win-win. I'm really looking forward to seeing how it works. Also, guys, just to let you know, I just double checked with my handy dandy crapola stud finder. These things are garbage, aren't they? Anyway, it did give me a reading exactly where I expected the stud to be up there, right in line with the second part of that template there. So I think I'm good to go. Now it's time to start mounting the thing. Whew, all right, guys, changed my hat, starting to sweat. Actually doing some work today. Okay, so I am not a interior DIY channel generally, so I'm not going to go through every last single step with you guys for installing this thing, but I will go through it when I take the cap off the Bronco, because that's the kind of channel I am anyway. The next step is to use these two brackets. These are the ones that go on the side where you crank it, and then these two pulley pieces here, you stick them up there, mark where the holes go to meet the template that they've got, and then we pre-drill, I think. I'll have to go check my instructions, but I think that's what we do next. So, yeah, I'm gonna go stick these up there and mark my spots. All right, guys, real quick. I made a mistake when I set this up. My plan was to put the cranking side closer to the skylight, and it actually turns out this template matters which direction you go. And I didn't think that way. I just had sort of slapped it up there. So the cranking side, according to this template, is now closer to me, which, you know what? I'm okay with. It doesn't really matter which side has the crank on it. The crank itself gets stored somewhere else. You just lift it up and put it in there and then crank it down. So it doesn't make any difference which side it goes on. So yeah, so this is the bracket for the cranking side, and that lines up with, there's some little divots up there in the template. So I already marked the spots for the pulley side of the template, but that's okay. This will cover that up. Nobody cares. I don't care. So anyway, yeah. So rather than pull that thing down, flip it around, and put it back up, I'm just going to go ahead and flip where the crank side is. And I don't think it really even matters. So that's just God's way of saying this is the direction it's supposed to be. Well, all my holes are pre-drilled. I guess now it's time to mount things up.
2 hours later.
So I don't know if you can tell by looking or not, but my ceiling actually has a bit of a slope to it because I've got a flat roof on the house. And so the whole thing slopes downwards so the rain and the water will run off that direction. And it's actually enough to cause me a problem. It's about a 2-inch difference from one side where I'm going to mount these pieces to the other. And it's a little bit different for the front and the back because they're different widths. So, I did some measuring and everything. I'm just going to try to get close to level with some fender washers and a 2x4 and some plywood just to try to get some spacers in there. So I got out my trusty can of Ford Blue and made a couple of spacers here to go up there. And we're going to see how that goes. Now, I actually had to go to the store and spend about 16 bucks on some lag screws. Yeah, so I had to go to the store and get some lag screws. This is the one that came with the kit. This is the one that I'm going to use to sort of make sure that my screw goes through all my spacers and up into the rafter, and it's good and get secure up there. So yeah, a couple little changes here to deal with my sloped ceiling, but I think I'm going to make it work. It might void my warranty, but do what you got to do. Let's see how it goes.
It was at this moment he knew. he fucked up.
Hi guys, Future Ed here. I was in no mood after that happened to try to analyze or explain exactly what happened there, but I can look back on it now and laugh. So I'm going to go ahead and explain to you exactly what happened and the results of that whole thing. So here is what's left of the main support bar from the GL1 mount. As you can see, the mount is no longer attached here. That piece is is this piece here. This is the bracket that slides into the bracket that goes onto the ceiling, and it goes on there. And then there's another piece here that goes on top of there. There's a cotter pin that holds that. And normally there would be a little bearing inside of there, and this is what is left of that bearing. There's a couple more pieces that I had to pound out, and they're gone now. But yeah, then the the balls are long gone. I have no idea where they even went. Unfortunately, this the bearing was just right inside this hole right here, and it was pressed fit in. There's nothing out there on the market that's like this. This has got to be a custom part that they have made for this bracket specifically. So I couldn't find anything out there that would do this. So here's kind of what happened there. Because my ceiling is sloped, the mounting brackets are also a little bit sloped, which means that when I hung this up on the ceiling, it was canted just a little bit. I mean, this is exaggerated, but it was canted a little bit like this. And so to get this side in, I had to kind of bend it down just a little bit. And that caused that bracket to be a little bit tighter than it would be if the ceiling was flat. And so I found myself needing to use a rubber mallet to get that pounded in. This piece of equipment telescopes to go to the right side so they can pack it. This side telescopes really easy, and this side is kind of harder. All right. And so I opened this to what I thought was full extension, but it turns out there's actually a little bit more extension on this that I didn't get because of how tight that little last piece is. And so I didn't have it extended all the way. And so what happened was and you can see it on the video, I got to a certain point where this had already, the length of this wasn't quite long enough to go in between both mounts exactly. And when I pounded this side in, this side started coming out. And as I got this side locked completely in, the other side popped out and swung down. And then gravity did its thing. And this here just bent inside that bearing and popped that bearing right out of there, and things went flying, and that was it. And there was just no way to stop that from happening. So this is completely my fault. One, I wasn't paying attention to how far the extension was on this. Two, I wasn't really watching while I was pounding in. You can see on the video, I turn around and look and just right before it happens just to check to make sure that I'm okay. And the last couple pounds I did, it moved a lot, right? It just popped right out of there and swung down. But again, that's on me. And also because my ceiling is at an angle, that's an atypical installation. I think most folks are going to have straight ceilings. So, and it's on me as the installer to make sure that I'm doing what I got to do to account for that kind of stuff, and I didn't. So anyway, bottom line is, don't think too badly of the product. That was all on me. It's not because of cheap materials. It's because there's no bearing out there this size that would handle the weight of this thing swinging down like that. That's all there is to it. So let's go ahead and continue on and see how it got resolved.
1 week later.
Hey guys, so it's about a week later after my little incident, and I just got home from a field trip with the kiddos. You can see I'm very appropriately dressed for that. And look at what I have here on my front stoop. It is another GL1 from FLEXIMOUNTS, I got a hold of them and let them know that I had the little accident and I was really sorry about that. It was totally my fault. I wasn't paying attention. It was all me. And they sent me a whole new one. And I'm guessing it's because these parts are all manufactured together and they can't just send me like the little bearing piece or the mount piece or whatever it is. So they sent me a whole new one and they didn't even complain or nothing. As a matter of fact, I haven't even heard from them. I sent them the email and then a week later, one shows up on my front stoop. So we're gonna finish this installation and show you how it works. Okay, let's try this again with the new one. Fully telescoped this time. Yeah, see, this one telescopes easier than the last one. And I don't blame them for that. I don't, that's not their fault. I mean, they can't manufacture everything to the exact same specs, and I should have read the directions better and known that how the telescoping thing worked before I tried to put it up here, but that's... See, it is sturdy enough. Oh, I moved my ladder's in the wrong spot. So these brackets, mounting points, and this bar are sturdy enough that when I get it in here, like that, it will stay. You know, it'll stay in there. And I can hang it just like that with this other bracket coming down so I have room and time to move over here and get that one mounted in. Now, last time I had to use a hammer, a little bit of persuasion to get it in. Let's see if this was the same thing. And I'm gonna keep an eye on the other side, you better believe this time, to make sure that I'm not pulling it out of there. Oh, wow. Okay, yeah, that's much easier this time. And there we go. Not going anywhere this time, he said confidently. All right, now it says to assemble the grid. So I put together a lot of things like this where the instruction manual just kind of gives you a bunch of pictures and you have to kind of infer how things are oriented based on how the instruction manual looks. And I hate that because I like to be more exact than that. So I do appreciate that FLEXIMOUNTS, their instructions actually tell you things like the label faces out, make sure that the bars are perpendicular to the stacked grid, and you know, this is exactly how this goes, make sure you do this, make sure you do that. So I appreciate all of that. Oh, there's even labels on here that says this side of the wired deck should face upward. It's nice when product designers actually think about the people doing the installation. It kind of tells you like where this should be located and how far back and forward it should be, and that there should be enough, like an equal amount of bar on both sides and all this. So yeah, pretty good. All right, that's it assembled. Now it's time to hook it up. I'm a cheat. I don't feel like bending over. So I got my grid all wired up. Everything's hooked. Got my handy dandy winding pole here. It says, before using the product, to unlatch the safety catch, on the gearbox. And I'm guessing you just put that in there like that, and now you can wind it. Okay. It takes a little bit of work to get it wound. It's got a low gearing, so that's so you can raise all that weight. But it's nice that you can kind of move this wherever you want. Now it says it holds 300 pounds evenly distributed. I'm not 300 pounds, but I'm also not evenly distributed. So I think I'm gonna try it with something that I can put right in the middle. So I don't know if you can see in the camera or not, but there's a fair bit of slack in some of these cables. And one of the things that the instructions does tell you to do is to put a heavy load on there the very first time that you lift the lift up, so that it can take some of that slack out and it can wind things up appropriately. So I just happen to have a relatively heavy load over here that I was gonna actually use this thing to store anyway, which is my tote full of parts. From the Windsor. And this seems like a pretty good way to store that stuff. I may have to move some things out of the tote so I can, have more vertical room, but that's a pretty heavy load there to start with. Oh yeah, see it's starting to take the slack up there. Oh, and one other thing that the instructions noted is that if you want to, you can take the handle off and use a power drill to do this. So, yeah, that's pretty neat. It's kind of loud, but it works. All right, so that is as far as I can get it. How much do I trust this thing, huh? That's as far as I can get it without the parts inside that tote actually touching the ceiling. But that's pretty nice, I can walk underneath of it. And it's a little lower in the front than it is in the back. I think that's just, don't kill me. It's a little lower in the front than it is in the back. And I think that's just due to, the slop that's inherent in mounting things like this. It's not going anywhere. So that's pretty nice. Yeah, I like that. And I'll end up taking those parts out of that tote, the ones that stick up there, laying them next to it, and then I can put all those parts up there, and it gets them off my floor. That's pretty slick. All right, so there it is, tucked all the way up. Yeah, that's not bad. Yeah, that's pretty nice, actually. Well, guys, unfortunately, I couldn't get my Bronco running. I tried to get it running this morning and didn't have any luck. I still don't know exactly what's going on with it. The spark plugs are black and carbony, even though they're brand new. It popped on me once or twice, and now it won't start even with starter fluid, so I still got some work to do there. But luckily for me, past Ed had some foresight and put in this cool little doohickey right here, which, ignore the clothes, garage sale stuff. I have a video about how I did this, if you want to see. And this just allows me to use a come along, basically to get the Bronco up over the hump in the front right there. I could push it on my own or pull it without that hump there, but with that hump, I don't have the strength to do it. So this come along helps me get over the hump. It also gives me a little bit of safety so it doesn't go flying forward or anything if, I lose control of it. So, yep, that's what we're doing right now. Guys, this is nuts. Look at how close I am to everything here. Can you see that? That is ridiculous. It's not actually touching. But it is pretty much exactly where it needs to be underneath this FLEXIMOUNTS lift. So now I get to learn how to take a back off a Bronco, the cap off, and see if we can't get that sucker lifted up. Hey guys, welcome to the inside of my Bronco. And as things beautiful in here, we're just going to get this cap off. All right, now I know some models have some interior lights back here. You'd have to disconnect the wiring. I don't see any in this one, so I would assume that there's no wiring in here. Even the cab light is like empty. You can see right there. So even if there was a light, it's probably not hooked up. And you can see where the trim is all but completely missing on both sides. So I have to take some of this off, but I could just rip it off, really. It's pretty roached out. But there's, if you have a nicer Bronco, you would take the trim off, you would unplug the light, and then there's these, the bolts here that you take off, and there's some pins here that help kind of guide it on. But yeah, that should be about it. Once I get the bolts off, it should come off, and we're gonna see what happens. All right, guys, so to be honest, there's more to this than I thought. I've never taken the cap off a Bronco before. So you have to take all this trim off, and there's some bolts up there too. And these bolts are kind of a pain to get out. They're really fine threaded, so they take a long time. But we're working through it. And eventually, I think, I'm gonna leave all this trim off. I'm not putting the trim back on. And I think I may try to create like a quick method of putting this cap on and off. I'm not sure what I can do there. I'll have to take a look and see what other guys have done. But yeah, because I'd like to be able to just like remove this thing for a few hours for fun on a weekend and then come back and pop it back on. So we will see what I'm gonna do. But for now, I just gotta get it off. Okay, so now comes the only part that I'm actually really kind of concerned about, which is getting the top actually off. Who knows how long it's been since this thing has moved. I got all the bolts out, got all the trim off, so it should be good to go, but there's a little bit of sealant, I think, keeping this thing on, so you can hear and see where it kind of moves. Make sure if you're doing this, use a trim removal tool and not something more aggressive than that. You don't want to crack this fiberglass. That would be really, really bad news. So, see if I can get it off. I feel like this is a bigger pain than it would normally be because I've got my engine back there and a bunch of just stuff crammed in this garage. It's consequences of being a dad in the summertime with the family and all that stuff. There's yard sale stuff in here and just random bits of whatever. There's one way to do it. So I think what I'm going to do now is I'm going to lower the lift down to basically touch the top of the cap, so that when I ratchet strap it, it's already kind of right there. All right, here we go. All tightened up, moment of truth. Come on. Yeah. So for something like this, I think I'm going to use the hand crank rather than this this drill, because the drill is a little bit clunky for this. That's pretty impressive. All right, guys. Well, there you go. A completely novel way to store your Bronco cap. I mean, you could probably even store a Blazer cap or a Jeep cap or a newer Bronco or anything really that'll pop off like this. You could maybe do like those hardcover tonneau covers if you wanted to take those off and go off to the store and get you something from the hardware store that's a little bit bigger, or furniture or whatever, or a refrigerator, and take that hard cap off, and this is a place to store it, right? I think it's a really, really cool use for this thing. I didn't see this use case advertised anywhere on the FLEXIMOUNTS website. FLEXIMOUNTS, I think that's an untapped market that you should look into, but hey, I'm helping you out with that, so you're welcome. As far as FLEXIMOUNTS and the GL1 lift goes, pretty impressed. Obviously, I made a little bit of a mistake and that thing swung down and I busted it, but they sent me a whole new replacement. Now, I can't guarantee that they would be the same way for you guys because I'm doing a video for them. We kind of have a contract thing going on, so, and I don't know what's going to happen once this is done and over with. I got to send it back to them, or what's going to happen with that. I got to work that out with them. But anyway, and I'm going to keep one of these. True story. If they were to say, because you broke it, you got to pay for it, I would pay for it to keep it. And that's not a joke. I would. This is so useful that I would definitely pay for it. So, yeah. And on top of that, you can see up there, I'm not sure you can see very well, but there's a little bit of space between the top of that rack and the ceiling. So I could store some other stuff, being mindful I don't go over 300 pounds with this cap on there. But yeah, and that's what it's for, right? It's for storing garage items up and out of the way. But I mean, you can hang stuff from it because it's got the grate and everything. It's really super useful. I was thinking of a way to store my cap, and I was looking at things like that, and I'll put it on some pallets outside, or maybe I could build a rack, or maybe I don't know what I could do. Maybe I could get a winch. That would be pretty cool, right? And then FLEXIMOUNTS literally, just a couple of weeks after I had that thought, sent me an email saying, "Hey, Ed, your garage is full of garbage, and we think it would be great for you to store some of that garbage on our lift and get it out of your way." No, that's not what they said. What they said was, "We like your channel, we like your style, we would like to have you talk about our lift on your channel." I said, "Well, yeah, okay, let me take a look at it," as I do. And when I did, I went, "Oh my gosh, this would be perfect for storing a Bronco cap." And it is. I mean, guys, look at how cool it is. Look at that. This I'm not acting. Like that's super cool. I could just drive this thing out, go out, have a great day, back it in, drop this down. Now, look, this is not as simple as taking off parts of a Jeep, right? But with a piece of equipment like this, it does make the up and down and taking this thing off a whole lot easier. I did this alone. Nobody helped me. And it's just going to sit here while I drive out, if I could. I can't because this is broken, but hopefully yours isn't. So if you have one, you can just drive out, do your stuff, drive back, pop it down, bolt it on, and you're good to go. And I think at some point in the life cycle of this vehicle, I'm going to try to figure out a way to make this a little bit easier to take on and off. Maybe put some studs here with some wing nuts or something. I'll figure something out. I mean, do they have kits for that to make it easier to take a cap on and off on a Bronco? I don't know. If not, I'll figure something out. But yeah, so anyway, bottom line, FLEXIMOUNTS GL1 lift, big thumbs up, big 5 stars, super impressed with it. It is not that expensive, guys. Go check it out. The link is in the description of the video. As always, if you learned something today, you learned how to take a Bronco cap off, learned a great way to store a Bronco cap. Give me a like, give me a subscribe. That really does help me out. I am super sorry that I'm not putting out very many videos right now in the middle of the summer. It is just so much going on. I have literally taken days off of work to make this video happen because I just haven't had any time otherwise. But I do appreciate every single comment, every single like, every single subscribe. Keep doing that stuff. This engine back here will get worked on eventually, I promise. As always, guys, thanks again so much for watching, and we will see you next time.
She's rough around the edges, but she's doing fine. Tinkering away, getting things to shine. At Bullnose garage, she's considered divine. Thanks again for watching. We will